This is a very concerning and developing news story. Based on the information typically contained in a headline like this, here is a breakdown of the situation and its key elements. Disclaimer. This is an analysis based on the headline's claims. Specific details would depend on the official reports from the law enforcement agencies involved. Summary of the situation. A youth sports coach is wanted by law enforcement on charges related to child sex abuse material, CSAM. He is currently missing, and according to statements from his family, he left while in possession of a firearm. This combination of factors makes this an extremely high-risk and dangerous situation. Breaking down the key elements. 1. The charges: child sex abuse material, CSAM. This is the modern and more accurate term for what was previously often called child pornography. The charges suggest that law enforcement has evidence, likely digital, that the coach possessed, distributed, or produced sexually explicit material involving minors. These are severe felonies that carry long prison sentences and mandatory registration as a sex offender. 2. The subject: missing coach. The person involved was in a position of trust and authority over children, which significantly amplifies the seriousness of the allegations. It also potentially suggests access to victims. His status as missing means he is actively evading law enforcement. 3. The critical detail from family: left with gun. This is the most alarming piece of information. It introduces an immediate and severe threat. Danger to self. This strongly suggests the individual may be considering suicide. Facing such charges often leads to feelings of despair and hopelessness. Danger to others. It also raises the possibility that he could be a threat to law enforcement attempting to apprehend him or even to anyone who might try to intervene. This detail is why law enforcement will likely issue a armed and dangerous warning to the public. What likely happens next? Manhunt intensification. Local, state, and federal agencies, like the U.S. Marshals Service, will likely be involved in a significant manhunt. Public alert. Law enforcement may release the coach's name, photograph, vehicle description, and a warning not to approach him, urging people to call 911 immediately if he is spotted. Investigation expansion. Detectives will likely expand their investigation to determine if there are any local victims from his coaching activities and to track his digital footprint and financial transactions to locate him. How to interpret this news responsibly. Avoid speculation. It is important to remember that the individual is wanted on charges and is presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. However, the nature of the charges and his flight from authorities are seen as very serious indicators of guilt. Heed official warnings. If law enforcement labels him armed and dangerous, the public must take that warning extremely seriously. Refer to official sources. For accurate and updated information, look for press releases from the specific police department or sheriff's office handling the case, or statements from the FBI or U.S. Marshals Service if they are involved. In essence, this headline describes a critical and volatile situation where an individual facing the most serious category of criminal charges is now at large and potentially armed, posing a significant risk to himself and the public.